What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for another video. We're with the Steam Deck OLED here with Visions of Mana from Square Enix. This also runs great on the LCD model. I've played it on both, but I really wanted to see with this game's color scheme and everything what it would look like on the OLED, and it definitely looks great here on that screen. But I really wanted to see what performance would be like for this. So getting into the settings, not a lot of options. I'm going to be full screen 720p. You could do 1080, but it really tanks performance, and there's no 800p. We'll also take a look at Fidelity FX Resolution 2 and some other settings as we get into the game as well, but FSR in this game is pretty rough. Now, sitting here with that standard preset, no FSR, 4 gigs of VRAM, 720p, about 43 FPS. If we go to the high preset, we'll come down to around 38 to 40, 38, 39, something like that, but we're not even really getting into anything yet. And then at low, we'll go back up to about 45 or so, a couple more than what we had sitting at standard here. So not a huge difference. I'm going to opt to stick with standard for the game to kind of give me that in between. Now, if you go with FSR quality, the best option for FSR, it automatically gets really, really rough in this game, and performance is pretty much eye bleeding, even on the small screen of the deck. So I would love to boost that frame rate in this game and get that 60, but FSR is just really rough right now. So maybe they'll have an update for that. So I am just going to stick with the native resolution, standard for the graphics setting, no FSR, and the 4 gigs of VRAM. And for the most part, though, with those settings, we get a pretty clean experience for the game. It looks pretty good here this way, and it plays pretty well. Input latency is great. No major hiccups or stutters other than some areas of the game, which we'll get into there. But when I'm just running around this kind of beginning open area that we're getting into and visiting kind of like the first village, I did the whole intro of the game and all of that. We were pretty much in the high 30s to mid to upper 40s most of the time, hitting 50s from time to time, leaving it this way. You could definitely lock this game down to something like a 30 FPS if you wanted to, save a little battery, and that frame time will stay real smooth for you, unless you're loading in and out of certain areas of the game, which then you can experience a little bit of a hiccup in the frame rate, like right here when I was traversing through this area and it's kind of blocked off by the hills there. As it loads in, you'll get that dip, but for the most part that didn't happen other than those areas, and combat and everything still felt smooth, looked fine. We get these little hiccups here and there, but they're very, very small, so frame rate stays fine. Frame times, more importantly, stay pretty smooth here. So I would like to be able to use FSR. I'd love to lock this game down to 60, or on the OLED deck, I'd love to boost this up and be getting above 60 like we saw earlier with the 70s. But yeah, the picture quality is just way too bad for that. You could definitely go with high as well, especially if you're going to want to lock something like 30 FPS, and it'll be fine. But I felt like standard did a good job here of giving me decent image quality anyway and a decent frame rate going through the game and playing a good bit. I'm actually enjoying Visions of Mana more than I thought I would. I've actually played a couple more hours into the game since recording this, and it's actually a pretty good game. And considering I'm playing Black Myth Wukong right now and the Black Ops beta and Outlaws and all of that, yeah, for this game to grab my attention for a couple hours and for me to start spending time with it and want to play more, yeah, that says a lot for the game itself and for wanting to be able to play it here on the OLED. You can see running around the town here, we're going to get lower performance. So of course in the future we might see lower performance in like bigger towns and stuff like that, something to be aware of, as I am kind of still in the first couple hours of the game in the beginning areas. But yeah, ultimately, I think performance is pretty good. If you want to play Visions of Mana on your Steam Deck, I think you're going to be just fine with that. I'll leave it with just a little bit more gameplay, guys, that you can check out here. Thanks a lot for coming to check out the video as always. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.
I'll take you all on.